Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Thank you for joining us today for this episode of Her Version. The Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I'm speaking with an amazing woman named April Brumm. April is a pilot wife and boy mom. She loves connecting people and growing businesses. She believes in God, the power of connecting humans with like-minded humans, and encourages hope, love, and growth. Welcome, April. How are you?
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to hang out and chat with me here on the Her Version platform. I always appreciate the women of the world who understand the mission that I am on, as far as just, sharing stories and the importance of your own story in order to give hope to other people.
So happy to be here. I love just sharing with other women, and it's just so important to let folks know, especially in this disconnected world that we seem to be living in, that you're not alone and what you're doing is a mission and everybody has an assignment. So helping them find that is just, it's fun and rewarding, and it gives them a sense of community.
Yes, 100%. So I want to just jump right in. I love jumping into the deep questions. And I kind of want to just start with, what's one of the greatest challenges that you've had in your life? And what did you learn from that challenge?
Well, I'm not sure that it would be defined as most people as a great challenge, but obedience has been a very giant challenge for me. God calls us, He has an assignment for each one of us. Some days our assignments are small, and some days our assignments are just get through the day. But I try to ask the Lord every November. I ask for a word of the year that I can concentrate on and meditate on. 2020, 2020, who knew that 2020 was going to be such a, I don't like to call it a disaster. For so many people, it was a disaster. They lost loved ones, their whole lives changed. But it brought challenges that made us grow. And so 2020, I think my word of the year was consistency. And then 2021, my word of the year was trust. But 2022, He gave me obedience. And obedience for me, biblically, is talked about so much in the Bible. And so I would say my greatest challenge is obedience, because I'm independent. I want to do my own thing. I think I know what's best many times. By the time you get to be 53, you're like, I got this. I know how to do all the things. Like, move over, sit down, shut up. I've got this, right? Yeah. And we do have days when we feel really lost. But for the most part, I would dare say most women in their 50s are like, you know what? I know how to do this. But God says, I've got such a better plan. I've got bigger things for you to do. And when the Bible says He can give us more than we can imagine, wow, my imagination is pretty big. I think I've got some pretty big, lofty goals. But when God says He can give me more, if I'm just obedient. And so getting up every morning without my agenda, without my plans getting in the way, being obedient to what he is telling me to do, it's freedom if I choose to look at it that way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hopefully
100%.
that
Why
helps.
November? Why do you do it in November?
Because December is such a hot bowl of spaghetti thrown against the wall. It just, because, everybody plans everything in December. And I happen to be in the greeting card business, sort of. I'm in the relationship business, but I do help people get their Christmas cards out. So it's sort of a panic session for everybody, because even though Christmas comes every year at the same time, they still call me about the first week in December. It's when they get that first Christmas card, they call me in a panic. And they're like, oh my gosh. And so sometimes they will call about December 20th and they'll say, oh my gosh, you've got to help me get my Christmas cards out. I went, no, honey. You meant to say New Year's cards. Because you're not doing Christmas cards on December 20th. You're doing New Year's cards. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
So November is, I dedicate the whole month of November to gratitude and just taking a breath. I decorate on November 1st for Christmas so that I can have an easy, focused December. I focus on other people. I try to help people set their next year up for success, and try to avoid, should I say avoid the chaos or sail through the chaos? Whichever.
I love it. When did you become so, I want to use the word organized, but I'm not going to say organized. But as far as planning that, like, when did you decide that you were going to start planning or decorating Christmas on November 1st? When did you decide that November was the best for you? When did this come to be, this thought process of actually planning things out?
So in 2006, our pastor asked us to fast something. TV, social media, gum, like pick something to fast for 1 week.
Okay.
So my husband and I decided to fast television because we had little kids. Everybody was like this all the time.
Yeah.
Some sort of screen. Cell phones weren't really giant at that time. Everybody had little tablets. So we decided to fast TV for a week. That week, when we cut that TV off, we saw each other. We saw all the crap in our house. We saw that we were surrounded by clutter.
Yeah.
That we were just existing instead of purposely living.
Wow.
It was the most precious gift that we could have gotten. At the end of that week, we disconnected cable. We didn't have it back for 7 or 8 years. We just would watch like YouTube and, we would watch things on purpose after that. Because at the time social media was getting streaming at the time. It was just barely starting to stream. And we started purging our house. And that summer, our church was leading a mission trip to Brazil to go work with some folks down there that we knew. And in our neighborhood, they were collecting things from people that they wanted to sell, and the proceeds would go to pay for the mission trip. 7 truckloads of crap later, we purged our house.
Wow.
And you couldn't even really tell it because we had so much clutter.
Wow.
We weren't hoarders. We
totally get it.
We have a big house and we had a lot of things we just didn't need.
Yeah.
That began a life change. It began a simplification process. I went through my closet one day. I read a blog once. I wish I could remember who it was from because I'd love to credit her because bloggers work so hard. Go into your closet and shop as if nothing's on sale. Shop for what you want that you would buy that day and get rid of the rest because you're just storing that stuff.
I love it.
And I did it. And it turns out I wear blue, black, gray, and white. That's what I wore. Anyway, I was just storing the rest because, and you know what, Sabrina, I would wear clothes sometimes because I felt bad that I hadn't worn that shirt in a while.
Yeah.
What? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me happy. It didn't bring it didn't do this.
Yes.
And I would wear it out of obligation to the clothing. What?
I love it.
And I got rid of the rest. And so now I have like 40 pieces of clothing that I love, that I look good in, that I'm confident when I wear them. I have 9 pairs of shoes. I don't have any clutter in my house. And when I get something, if it has a purpose, great. If it doesn't, I get rid of it. So that is how that all started. And I don't decorate for holidays except for Christmas. And I just do it for 2 months out of the year. I love it. I enjoy it. I live in it. And then we put it all away in 6 tubs. And then, like, I'm not militant about it.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of grace and mercy in my life.
I love that.
A lot of mess. In other words, we just do things messy. Like right now, because I have 3 teenage boys living with me, there's shoes everywhere. Everywhere. But I don't care. Like, I don't need to have things neat, but we live simply so that we can give our abundance to those that need it. I can be obedient quicker when God asks me to because there's no clutter. I can hear him.
I love that.
It just brings me so much joy. I'm happier now in my life, older. I wish I had this experience when I was a lot younger.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one thing that my story is a little bit different with that. The stuff that people collect, it does absolutely nothing. I always tell people, it's like, I'd rather have an experience with you than to have a gift from you.
Right.
So I try to keep my house very clutter-free. There's barely anything in my house as far as knickknacks and all of that stuff. I have one wall with pictures, but other than that, there's really nothing. But I like it that way because I would rather spend my time hanging out with my family, my friends, working my business than cleaning my house.
Oh, yeah. I'm a terrible housewife, Sabrina.
Yeah.
I hate to clean. Seriously, if I didn't have somebody coming to clean my bathrooms twice a month, it would look like a bus station in there. I mean, we're talking about science experiment in a hot minute because
I love it.
Boys cannot aim. They went to a deer camp a hunting camp one time in Texas, and it was sort of it was an experience. They went with my dad and my brother, and they went to this big ranch out there. It was really cool. And there was a sign in the bathroom that says, if you can hit a deer at 300 yards, you can hit this toilet.
Oh, I love it.
Absolutely. And there's teenage boys for you.
Absolutely. I love it. Talking to females, there's a lot of, I say females because this podcast is geared towards females, but this is for all humans. There's sometimes a lot of sense of overload. There's a lot of sense of doing all of the things all of the time and having all of the things all of the time. What would be some advice you'd give? Like, what are some steps that you take when you are feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling slightly stressed? What do you personally do?
So a very wise friend of mine, her name is Nita. She has been one of my Bible study teachers at our church. She hasn't done a Bible study in a long time. She's in her 70s now. She is such a dear friend of mine. I would encourage anyone listening to this, ask the Lord to give you an older friend and go learn from them. Spend time with them. Soak them up. And then, especially if you're in your 50s, ask the Lord to send you a younger friend. And
I love that.
Be that bridge. That principle comes out of Titus 2. If you want to look it up, it's called the Titus 2 principle. The 2nd chapter of Titus talks about the structure of our learning, think about back in biblical times, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have books, they didn't have ways to learn things. You learned things from the older people that were wiser.
Yes.
And you sat around and you soaked them up. And they have so much to teach us. So Nita said to me one day, and it just so rang true, you have time to do everything that God has told you to do that day. If you're falling in bed at night, and please, anyone listening to this, hear me. If you're falling in bed at night exhausted with a to-do list a mile long that you didn't get done and you feel unaccomplished and you feel like you weren't enough that day, that's not your list of things to do. Your list of things to do that God needs you to do that day, that he created you to do that day, you'll get done the things that you were meant to get done. All the rest of the stuff is stuff that you feel like you need to do because the world tells you you're not enough. You've got to hurry up. You've got to be all the things, do all the things, show up everywhere. You don't. Just do what you're called to do that day. And when you walk in your calling, oh my goodness, it's so great. You just fall in bed and you go,
yes.
And do I do it every day? No. Just because I can say it doesn't mean I accomplish that state of accomplishment every day, right? I even have, this is one of the things that I get asked a lot. How do you do this? How are you where you are? Mm-hmm. So I created this on Canva. It's super simple here. This is yesterday. So this is kind of like dry erase. Watch the magic. So you do this and you start over the next day. So it's like a little dry erase card. Okay. And so this helps me, again, we're talking about simplification.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be 12. It's just 12 because 12 nice and fit on here, right?
Yes.
I don't get everything done. You saw when I just wiped all this off, there was only like 6 things done.
Yeah.
I try to show up every day on social media somewhere, somehow, even if I'm just commenting on something like you always post such relevant, if anybody's watching this on YouTube or whatever, come find Her Version because it is a great community to support one another. But if you need some support someday, it's there too. So I read my Bible every day. I pray for someone every day. I do something for my body every day. At least it's on here, right?
Yes.
I send 5 cards every day to someone that needs a dose of encouragement. This is contact mapping. This just means if somebody said, follow me on Friday, it shows up in this app. I recognize birthdays every day. And then I show up on social media, and then I try to meet 5 new people every day. So when you do simple things, do what you can do. Don't try to take on more than you're meant to take on. And you're going to go through seasons in your life. Dear friend, if you're listening to this, you're going to be in a season where you just need to stay alive that day.
Yeah.
I have friends right now that are in the pits of depression, and I just want to go hug them and say, just make it one more day. Mm-hmm. And someday, when you're on the other end of it, this is going to be the roadmap for the next person that feels like they can't make it. And you're going to get to show them that they can make it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the importance of that. When you say meet 5 people a day, is that on social media or is that in person?
Anyway, someone might send me a DM on Instagram and maybe they're pitching me, but they're just in pitch mode. But I will message them back and say, I try to meet 5 new people a day. Would you like to be one of those 5 people? Tell me about your mission.
I love
and sometimes they'll answer me, sometimes they won't, but I reach out and try to be human.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're going to connect with somebody and they're going to say, wow, this is refreshing. Like you're being a person.
Yeah.
Or I will have maybe met somebody networking in the community, and I put people on usually a 90-day, 6-month, 1 month, depending on how I feel at the time, I'll put them on that follow-up trigger. Mm-hmm. So I followed up with someone one time and I said, hey, just wanted you to know I was thinking about you today and hope you're having a good Tuesday. She messaged back and she said, oh my gosh, I just 10 minutes ago got diagnosed with breast cancer and I'm feeling so lost right now. And the fact that you reached out just lets me know that God is watching over me.
Wow.
And I was like, man, what if I had not done my follow-ups today? So any level of reach out, obviously I'm the card lady. I love to send cards, but it doesn't have to be a card. It can just be a text message. It can just be a comment on a post. It can be one of those little funny emojis, send somebody the poop emoji and just say, hope you're having a happy day.
Yeah. Yes.
There's so many ways to just bring a smile.
Absolutely. What do you think is the meaning of life?
The meaning of life for me today, where I'm sitting right now in life, is to be a tool and to be useful and to make sure that whoever I come in contact with today knows that God loves them, that nothing in this world is out of control. It is not out of his realm of watchfulness. The Bible says that we are going to suffer and we are going to have hard times. And he is there. He is real. He loves us. And there is always, always, always hope. So the meaning of life for me is to give people hope. You're never alone. You're never in such a dark place that God won't be there with you. And I know that there are a lot of people who have gone through unimaginable hurt and pain.
Yeah.
But we are not living in a perfect world. We are living in a broken, sick world full of sickness and wickedness. Mm-hmm. But it's not always going to be that way.
Mm-hmm. When you say the words out of control, I think you said nothing is out of control. What do you mean by that?
Because our steps are ordered. If we ever feel like things are spinning out of control, it lends the belief that somehow God has turned his head, somehow that something has happened by mistake. I don't believe that God causes the evil things. I do believe that evil exists. I believe that demonic forces are always at work. The Bible says so. But I also believe that we are not ever going to get better, meaning we're not going to better. What's a better word for better? You don't hone your skills by having everything go perfectly and go well, right? I mean, I'm not one of those gym people. I wish I was one of those really in shape gym people. Like some people will post, I'm in my happy place at the gym. No, that's not my happy place. My happy place is in the corner with a box of Oreos. But you don't get better by having everything go perfectly, right? If we make life too easy on our kids, they don't get better. They get worse. They get lazy. They get complacent. We get better by overcoming challenges. We get better by honing our coping skills, right? So feeling like things are out of control is sort of a misnomer. We always have control over our next response. We always have control over our next over, what do you call it when you overcome, over our next victory. So I don't ever feel like things are out of control. I always feel like God is allowing things to make us better, even the really, really, really hard stuff. And I've been through some hard stuff. I've been through some dark days, dark seasons. Nothing like some of my friends have. I have friends that have truly been through unimaginable things. And I've lost some friends who didn't make it through on this side of heaven. But their victory is eternal. Their victory is waking up in the arms of Jesus and having no more pain, no more tears, no more suffering. That's their reward. My 6-year-old, who now is 18, when my grandmother was suffering every day and wanting to go ahead and be in the arms of Jesus. And of course, we're all praying, don't die, don't die. You know, we always do that. Like, pray that my grandmother lives. You know, we always do that, right? My 6-year-old in his childlike wisdom says, why do we keep praying for Mamie not to die? If she dies, she gets to go to heaven. That's where she wants to be. Mm-hmm. And he was truly confused at us wanting her to stay here and suffer. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, why am I not thinking more eternally? Mm-hmm. You know, the great span of eternity, our lives are a blank.
Yep.
They feel like they're going to go on forever, right? Like some days are never going to end.
Yeah.
But our whole life is that's how fast our life is in the span of eternity.
Yeah.
But we feel like it's just, when is this day going to end? Right?
100%. Definitely.
So, yeah.
You know, I want to touch on what you were kind of saying before, as far as we were kind of talking about the stuff in our house and getting stuff done, we weren't really talking about staying on task, but just like, you know, living a nice, fulfilling, easy life. Mm-hmm. And kind of combine that with what you were just talking about. You know, I think one of the issues that a lot of individuals have is just feeling as if they're good enough. You know, there's right. this constant feeling that many individuals have where they're just in a race to be whoever they think they are supposed to be. And where they get that from, I don't know. Like, wherever you get your definition of whatever you are supposed to be, people get their definition from all types of places. But mm-hmm. What's your thought process as far as when we are good enough?
Well, you know, I'm going to go back to original scripture. The Bible says we are not good. We are good when we put on the righteousness of Jesus. So I see it like we don't get a lot of cold weather down here in Georgia, but when we have a cold, nippy day, and I want you to close your eyes and you walk outside and it takes your breath away. It's so chilly that day. And you walk back inside and you grab that hoodie, the hoodie that you've had for 20 years and it's tattered and it's just the most comfortable piece of clothing you have. And you put that on and you go, and then you go back outside. That is good enough. When you realize that we don't have it in and of ourselves to be good, but that's what Jesus did for us. So when we exchange his life for ours, that's true freedom. The freedom, and that's basically the gospel. When somebody says, I hope I'm good enough to get to heaven, on whose scale? Good enough? Who says that? Yeah. Who gets to decide what's good enough?
Yeah.
The dude that just murdered 20 people? No. The person who is Mother Teresa? Who gets to decide who's good enough? Mm-hmm. So that's why God looked down and said, okay, these people are going to run themselves ragged trying to be good enough. And in Jewish culture, they would sacrifice the cleanest, newest, like perfect lamb. When they made that sacrifice, then it covered the sins of those people. So that was before Jesus died on the cross for us. So once Jesus died on the cross for us, that exchange was made. And so now I don't have to be good enough. I give my life to Jesus. I take on his righteousness. I put on that hoodie and I just let it wash over me. And then I can enter heaven and I'm good enough. So that's why, going back to my original talking about obedience, if I just lay it down in the mornings and say, what do you want me to do?
Mm-hmm.
He says, I have a life for you better than you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a dream board. I used to. I had a dream board and I had all these cool, like, I'm pointing to it because it's over there. I had all these vacation spots I wanted to go to, and I had an airplane because I wanted to buy one for my son. I had all these dream board things. But when I realized that God owns everything, I'm just the caretaker of the things that he's given me to caretake. So when I'm obedient and fall into his plan and become part of his puzzle instead of April land and the April show and, let's make sure that we're good enough for today. That's exhausting, right? Don't take that on.
Yeah.
I gave my life to the one who made it. And now I just get to do what he tells me to do every day. Because his plan is so much better than what I was going to do. It takes the pressure off of me of being good enough. I'm his child. And so here's a great example. I have friends that live in Romania. She's a missionary in Romania. She married a Romanian national. She adopted her Romanian son from the orphanage there. He's now 17. He's in that room right in there, sleeping right now. And they've been living with us off and on all these years. He is as much my son as my two sons. Just last night, all three of them were sitting in there watching some ridiculous movie. And he says to one of my sons, I heard him in the next room, hey, do you think I'm kind of hungry. Like, do you think she'll make us one of those cookies and some milk? And my son said, hey, Mom, what are you here to do? And I came in the room and I said, to keep all of you people alive and raise you to be godly men so that you can go out and be useful people and walk in God's purpose for your life. And David looked at Gil and he goes, see, ask her for what you want. He goes, can I have a cookie in the microwave and some milk? And I went, yes. That's what God wants to do for us.
Yeah.
We walk in obedience. We do what he tells us to do. His plan gets fulfilled. More people hear about the love of Jesus. I mean, yeah, it sounds all like roses and unicorn tears right now because I'm not down in the pit right now.
Yeah.
There's women in your community listening to this right now and they're like, she makes me sick. She's got everything. I don't. But I just do the next thing that he tells me to do, and you can too. If we can just encourage people to don't feel like you have to be everything. Take that pressure off yourself. Put that coat away. Give that coat to Goodwill. That's not your coat. You don't have to be everything for everybody and do all the things. Mm-hmm. Sabrina looks like she's got it all together. She's got perfect hair. She's got the perfect smile. She's got this great podcast. But you know what? She has suffered too. Mm-hmm. And she has come out on the other side and created this community to support you watching this right now, mm-hmm. to say, you can do it. Just take the next step. And then one day you'll be on her podcast telling how you made it through.
Mm-hmm.
But when we tell women, especially because you mentioned that that's our community that we're ministering to right now.
Mm-hmm.
When we tell them they have to be and do, and social media will absolutely make you feel like you are nothing.
Yeah.
Very rarely does social media lift you up. I'm here to say, just do the next thing that's your purpose. That's your, remember there was a sound on TikTok that went around for a while that says, I understood the assignment.
Yes. Yeah.
Everybody listening to this within the sound of my voice, you have an assignment today. Maybe your assignment is just get up.
Yeah.
Maybe your assignment is go speak to 10,000 people. Maybe your assignment is just eat. Get some nourishment in your body today. Maybe that's your assignment. But just do your thing. Walk in your purpose. Her version, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, this is just like full circle. My brain does not explode. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't remember your original question, but there it was.
We were talking about good enough.
Yes. Yes. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it is.
To be good enough. Good enough for who? Good enough for what?
That's the whole thing.
Just you're already enough. You're awake. You're alive. You're enough.
Definitely.
For that day.
What do you wish for?
I wish that everyone could clear the mental clutter long enough to hear the Lord say, here's what I want you to do today. This is what you're made for. You're perfect because I made you that way. That's what I want.
How does somebody do that?
Well, clearing the mental clutter is a good start. Stop mindlessly scrolling. Mm-hmm. I heard a little metaphor in my head recently, and I'm trying to form it into a 30-second reel or something that will be useful. If we can metaphorically scroll on by, you don't have to engage in every argument.
Yeah.
You don't have to get everybody on your side. Part of the beauty of walking in in obedience to God, part of the beauty of that is I can be friends with people who I differ from. Mm-hmm. I can be friends with people who are on the opposite side of the political, any argument you can think of. I have friends that I differ from because I just don't engage. When we love people where they are, for who they are, Jesus didn't come to start an argument. He came to love. He came to save.
Yeah. And
that's our job. My job is not to go, this is what you're doing wrong, and here's how to change it. And then you're going to be happy. Guess what? They might not be.
Yes. Yeah.
My job is to just say, I love you. God has a purpose for you. I support you. Go for it. I don't have to agree with everybody, and everybody doesn't have to agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
Be teachable, be coachable.
Yeah.
Be open. Don't be disobedient to what God's telling you to do. It's okay. I think you made a post the other day. Maybe I saw it in your community. It is okay and even advisable to be able to just turn and walk away if something is not for you.
Yeah.
We don't all have to engage and take up the flag and, what's his name in Patriot? Not Patriot. I don't know.
Are you talking about a movie? Are you talking about a movie?
Gibson?
I don't know my movies.
I don't know. He's like, What's that movie where he's leading all the rebels and we're going to save the world? I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Excuse me.
I want to take a moment real fast just to thank those that are listening live. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with April and I while we chit-chat about her journey and some of the stuff that she's done along the way. I also want to notate those that are watching on the replay at a different time other than live. Make sure you hashtag replay in the comments so that we know that you are here and we can send you some love. I do want to ask, April, now that we, have a audience here, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about what you do and a little bit about your business and who you help and your mission and all that goodness.
Oh, that's just the most fun thing ever. So I've been a stay-at-home mom for 20 years. And when my husband and I were dating, I said to him, I was born to be somebody's mom. If we end up together and we don't have kids right away, I'm getting on the first adoption list I can find. Like, I don't care where the kid comes from. I'm going to be somebody's mom. And he was like, okay. Like, that was like on the second date, like I was just already like laying it. Here's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
And bless him. Everybody goes, poor Chuck. But he has the app. I have walked in my mom's footsteps. My mom built a tribe and built a network before it was even had a name.
Wow.
She has always loved on people. She made birthdays special. She always made people feel like they were seen and that they matter, right? Yeah. I took that on. So I'm 53. For the last probably 30 something years, I've been mailing random cards to people. Mm-hmm. For no reason. Like Facebook memories pop up and it says, hey, thanks for the random card. That was long before I heard about this app. So I have an app on my phone called Send Out Cards. Mm-hmm. Anyone can have it. Of course, I would love for you to use me as a referral, but nonetheless. So preserving memories. My husband, here's for those that are marriage counselors. This is a fun tool. If somebody's having trouble in their marriage, not big trouble, but if you just kind of like lost the fire, right?
Yeah.
So my husband is a pilot. He's gone 3-4 days a week. And, but my house is always full of people somehow. He has this app on his phone, Sabrina, and he will send me the funniest postcards. So from the app, you can take a picture, like, we can take a picture of this. And then quickly, within 40 seconds, you can mail a real postcard in the mail. And it says, oops, forgot to comb my hair.
I love it.
And this is him in one of the cities that he's in. One time he sent me a postcard because he was doing the walk around in the airplane. And he sent me a postcard. He's like sweating profusely. He goes, it's hot in Phoenix, but not as hot as you.
Oh, I love it.
So I get these funny postcards in the mail every day in the mail from my husband. And that is what we do. So you can mail flat cards. These are my Romanian friends. This is my porch. And just holiday fun, 2021, #fridgeworthy. And I just mailed this to myself and I put it on my fridge. Or, you can be a business. This is the people that help me with my IT. And they say, thanks so much for letting us be your IT as it should be. And then there's their little QR code if you want to review it. So businesses can use it. You can use it for fun. You can use it for birthdays. They have brownies and salted caramels. There's like a giant gift store. So when I saw this app, my friend said, hey, there's this cool app. You got to use it. I was like, okay, whatever. I am not a fan of network marketing because every single introduction I've ever had to network marketing has been buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff.
Yeah.
That's been I'm just being honest. That's been my experience.
Okay.
So I didn't know how to marry. This is a company that you can send cards and gifts with the thought of, if you get a card and gift from me, I don't want you to feel sold. So therefore, I didn't tell a soul. I just mailed cards and gifts, and I left it at that. But then the Lord told me in 2018, he said, you don't have a mission field. I need you to find more people that need to hear about me. And I was like, well, how am I going to do that? Because I'm a stay-at-home mom. I go to school. I go to church. Like, my sphere is small.
Yeah.
But then he made me realize my sphere is not small. My thinking was small.
Wow.
I had a network of thousands of people that I had loved on and mailed cards to over the years. And so I asked him, give me a platform and I'll be obedient.
Mm-hmm.
And people started, literally out of the blue, they started to ask me, hey, how'd you mail that card? How'd you do that? Will you show me how?
Mm-hmm.
So very slowly, very cautiously, I started to share with people how to send cards and gifts from this app. And turns out cards are expensive. I did not know that because I haven't bought a card in years.
Yeah.
They're like $6 or $7, Sabrina.
Yeah.
The most expensive card we have is like $2.50.
Wow.
That's the most expensive card we have. And it can be, really cool. So when I put two and two together, and I went, wait a minute, this is actually doing somebody a favor, keeping them out of the grocery store. It saves them time, saves them gas, saves them money, all this stuff. But then if I show them that they can share it, they can get paid hundreds of dollars for sharing it.
Wow.
Again, I got obedient. I did the next step that I felt like the Lord was telling me to do.
Yeah.
And today I have 900 customers.
Wow.
What? And a full-time income.
Wow.
Which was not my intent.
Mm-hmm.
But now I get to have conversations with you and your community and to tell women, you're already enough.
Yeah.
Let me send you a card. Let me send you that memory. Let me, somebody actually sent me this. This is a birthday card that I got a couple of years ago. And it was a card that they bought in the store. It's like $6 on the back. Isn't it tacky how they put the price of the card on the back?
Yes.
Haven't we always been taught, take the price tag off so nobody knows what you're paying? Except you can't do that on a card because they tell you how much the thing is on the back. It says, you know that feeling when you think you're out of fries, but then you find more in the bottom of the bag? And then it says,
yes.
I hope you feel like that all day. And this is actually a card that came back to me because her address was wrong. But you know what this QR code does? Here, I'll hold it up so somebody can actually screenshot it and now look at it. It's a song on YouTube of the Swedish chef from the Muppets singing Happy Birthday.
Oh, I love that.
And so when they scan that QR code, they get a little happy birthday tune inside their birthday card.
Oh, I love it.
That's what I do. That's why I do it. To let people know that they are seen, that they are heard, that they matter. My favorite card story of all time, a friend of mine had been through a domestic abuse situation. She had to flee the state. Everything, she had to just drop off the planet to preserve her and her children. I won't even say how many and what because total anonymity here. I noticed that she had fallen off the planet. I noticed that I couldn't find her. I knew her from social media and from college, but I didn't have her current cell phone number, so I couldn't really find her. The Lord allowed me to find her through just found her.
Wow.
I messaged her and I sent her a card and I said, I just wanted you to know I was thinking about you today. And she texted me back because I had put my phone number in the card. She texted me back and she said, you have no idea how lonely I've been.
Wow.
I thought God had forgotten about me.
Wow.
But because you sent me this card, I know that he cares about me, that I matter, and that I'm going to be okay.
Yep.
That is why I do what I do. Because sometimes the person that has to completely unplug for obvious reasons that they are preserving their life sometimes.
Yeah.
They still have a mailbox. They still have mail.
Yeah.
And you can love somebody with something tangible that they get to hold.
Yeah.
And so you send a 5-year-old a picture of themselves, they will never throw that card away. Because we're all just a bunch of little narcissists, aren't we?
Yeah.
Think about it. When you see a group photo, what do you look at first?
Ourselves. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course. So it's just fun. And I tell real estate agents all the time, real estate agents make up about 1/4 of my customer base. If you send someone a picture of their dog, their house, themselves, their kids, they'll never throw that away. Be the source of that dopamine in their brain that says, feel good today.
Mm-hmm.
Be the source of that smile.
Yeah.
And your social equity will skyrocket. Your business will be better. Your life will be better. Your day will be better. Send out cards makes you a better person. I know that's a high calling, and people are like, yeah, whatever. Try me. I always throw this challenge out. Send one random card a day for 30 days. If you don't feel better at the end of 30 days, I'll give you your money back. I've never had to make right on that. It's just fun. So that's what I do.
What are your big dreams for your business?
Oh, my big dreams. I have a written goal. I don't know if I have it on me, but I would love to be able to support 100 missionary families at $100 a month on a regular basis with my residual income. I'm about a 1/7 of the way there so far. I'm also paying bills with this too. So, but one day I would like to be able to donate everything that I make and just invest in eternity.
Absolutely.
Because I don't want to be, my flesh does not want to be sent. You know, there's big spiders in other countries, Sabrina, like giant. So I would love to be the one that is sending the people. Like I will fund you all day long, but Lord, please don't send me.
Yes. Yes.
There are some giant physical adversities in other countries.
Yes. One that they don't tell you about until you get there.
Girl, yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, by the way.
Nobody posts about that. No.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Well, this has been fantastic. I so appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for developing this community and this platform. There are so many women that just need a safe place to fall. Yeah. And you've done a great job at that.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. In closing, I'd like to ask for some advice. I'd like to give some advice to the females that are watching. And I'm going to say, what would be some advice you would give to a woman who's listening now, who is struggling with obedience?
I would say give yourself grace. Obedience is hard, but obedience is worth it. You're going to fall in bed sometimes and you're going to be like, oh, well, that day was in the loser column. But then some days you're going to fall in bed and go, oh, I was useful today.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you are that puzzle piece that is in somebody's day, and I will encourage you, the more you are obedient, the bigger the jobs that God will trust you with. Because the Bible says, if I can trust you with a little, I'll trust you with more. Right? Some people want instant success in their businesses. but they haven't proven yet that they're trustworthy with a teeny bit.
Yeah.
We do that with our kids, right? I'm not going to give my 18-year-old a Maserati and an unlimited checking account. But if he is obedient and if he proves himself trustworthy with a little, I'm going to give him a longer leash. I'm going to give him, I'm going to give him more and more until now my 20-year-old, he's a pilot. He has proven himself worthy of my trust. Mm-hmm. So God will trust you, and then he'll trust you some more, and then he'll trust you some more. So struggling with obedience is normal. Struggling with obedience is okay. It means you're human, but it's so worth it. And I will have days when I am incredibly disobedient. But because I've experienced the reward of obedience, I've tasted what it's like to be a river instead of a reservoir. When we're a reservoir, we're just keeping all of the good for ourselves. And we're gathering the things. We're collectors of things. But if you agree to be God's river, he will flow through you more than you could ever imagine. Mm-hmm. So that you get to be that conduit for the things that he wants to flow through you. And the more he trusts you, the bigger it gets. And the bigger your platform will get. Yeah. And so I just want to encourage, give yourself grace, give yourself mercy. God is a God of second chances. He's a God of grace and mercy. He's not a militant. Sometimes bad things happen to you because you're stupid. I'll just say it. We say that to our kids, right? Like, bad things happen because you're being dumb. Yeah. But sometimes it's just because we live in an evil world, and bad things sometimes make us better in the end. Yeah. But sometimes we just have to get through the next day. And if you're watching this and you are in a season of suffering, know that God loves you, and that what you're going through right now could be a roadmap that is being created so that you can help the next person make it through. Yeah. Hopefully. So. Absolutely. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. For those of you that are listening and resonated with April and her story, her website is right above her head area. And she also has links in the description. And I believe I checked it out, and the send card information is on your website, right? It is. My web designer was nice enough to put a little pop-up right about there. And it says, your first one is free. So everybody can try a free card. I love it. So, I love it. Yeah, it's awesome. Fun. So thank you. Thank you for being here, April. I appreciate you. For those listening live, thank you for being here and listening live. This Her Version platform is expanding every single day and is filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you subscribe, follow, and share. If you have an amazing story to share of struggle to triumph, be sure to reach out to me here at herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that encourages others to share their truth and inspire others.